There's
Hi. Good afternoon. So we are now live and we are having our meeting committee submission on 4 topics. Ototahi Christchurch Future Transport, Dog Policy Control Bylaw, Parks and Reserves Bylaw, Tradeways Bylaw. And we will start off with the draft Ototahi Christchurch Future Transport 2024 through 54. So everybody received the document that, or the briefing that Faye sent through, just a summary of from the consultation document. We'll probably just go through there. I presume everybody read the documents, the consultation documents? Yes.
I had a skim.
Yes, Ms. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions that they are asking. And basically, we'll just go through the questions and then add any comments if you have any. So the first question for the Christchurch Future Transport is overall, do you support Ototahi Christchurch Future Transport? Yes, somewhat, no, don't know. You read the full document? Yes. Can I get some feedback, feeling, comments, anything? Yes,
personally,
yes, somewhat?
personally, I align with all of them.
So this is in general.
This is
Okay,
general,
so
but-
overall, for
Yep.
the transport, for this particular document, overall, do
Yep.
we support this? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, yes. Next, do you support the draft vision for Ototahi Christchurch Future Transport? And the draft vision states,
Transport system is central to a more vibrant, prosperous and climate resilient district. It shapes and connects Otautahi Christchurch and Te Pāpaka o Raka, Hautu Banks Peninsula, and enables everyone to move around safely and easily. It's a vision statement.
and so the question is, do we support the draft vision? Yes, somewhat, no, don't know. Any comments you'd like to add? Do you like to propose amendments?
Yes, the answer is yes, we do not support.
We do?
And I guess.
Do we want to suggest?
Comments?
Also add comments.
Yep.
So yes, and then
Yes.
we will add comments.
Just referring to page 15, is that right?
Yes, page 15 vision.
Yep.
Our transport system is, I'm not going to repeat because I don't have a voice. So do I take it our general answer is yes, and then we just add comments if you have any comments to add?
I guess
You'd like,
just as a question for Tyler and
yeah,
I, seeing as how we're councillors, right and correct and able for us to actually make many comments in this.
more
Either.
particularly probably is what your community's views about this, not your personal views.
Mm.
You will have your personal views probably at the decision-making table.
Yep.
But here is what we want is the community views.
I guess the one thing that's perhaps not included here with this key strategic challenges and opportunities is like efficiency. With
The strategic challenges is the next question.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
question number 3.
so that's just the
Question number
vision.
2.
sorry,
That's all right. So is there any comments and
The vision.
well, we talk about, moving safely and easily. I guess efficiently is covered under easily,
And reliably.
reliably.
Yeah, that was talked about in the briefing too. And she defined, from memory, she defined these to be in line with efficiency. easily getting from point A to point B,
Sure.
So it's
which
just the general.
embodied all of it.
Yeah. I wonder if that could be a bit more explicit though.
So we
What do you
said,
think? Maybe.
yes, we do support
Up to you
it.
guys.
Do we want, or you can somewhat support it
Mm.
and suggest an inclusion?
Yeah, I mean, easily.
Because
easily
vision
mean,
is,
I think,
vision is
Yeah.
wide, so we don't want specifics in this.
Yeah.
one.
sure, okay. I see
But the
what you mean.
vision still needs to encompass getting it efficient, so that people can then rely on it as a viable alternative.
So did you want, so it could say safely, reliably and easily, or, you know, we could suggest a additional another word in
Yeah,
there.
efficiently, I think is quite a good one, because one of the things I hear out of our communities is having to swap services to try and get efficiently where they need to get proves problematic.
Correct.
So we want to get efficient, I guess, connections so that people can get efficiently where they get to.
So safely, easily and efficiently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, good.
there's reliably in there as well,
It's not in there now,
No.
but you could
because reliably is another one that
yeah,
people could rely on.
safely,
services.
easily,
Thank you.
reliably and efficiently,
yeah,
Yeah.
or efficiently and reliably.
yeah, with the
Yeah.
addition of those two words.
It's all rural having services, but if there's like traffic, that's daft.
Yeah,
Okay, all good.
Yep.
Question number 3, do you agree with the strategic challenges identified in Watahi Christchurch Future Transport? Yes, somewhat, no, don't know. For me, I had a yes here, but I had a comment. If we could add something to the effect of there's greater challenge with the growth of neighboring districts and financial
Mm.
support from central government. Yeah, something along those
So those-
lines.
The ones that are identified here are enabling equitable transition to low emissions, building more resilience into transport network, adapting to changing climate, managing growth well as our population increases and our city becomes more developed. We want
So-
something added into that one
So
perhaps.
then, yep,
Yeah.
so-
That's one of the struggles we have, particularly we hear out of Halswell a lot, is that as they expand, actually having access to the services is really quite tricky. People are too far away.
the growth in Selwyn and
Yeah.
Waimakere
Any of the growth needs to be responded to in a timely and efficient manner.
in here. Mm. Okay. Key challenges. And for growth, what we see in this one.
I guess with that, that kind of comes into having ready access to new facilities as they come online as well.
So the infrastructure,
So you can adapt the routes to meet the growing changes in demand.
when you refer to roots, what are you referring to?
Well, it's getting down into the weeds a little bit, but it's more raising the idea that as a council or as a city, as we get more a new facility or a new location or suburb, we need to be able to adapt quickly enough to be able to meet the demand that's being introduced. I guess one of the classic examples of that to me is the Maratiki not having direct access to public transport options to and from there.
Yeah,
With that, some of the suburbs that crop up, that you don't have the access. We need to ensure that the transport can quickly and readily adapt where it's needed.
So Mark, something like, we need recognition that infrastructure demands, future infrastructure demands will result in changes in transport patterns.
Mm.
Right?
Patterns in demand.
so what impact does this have on, how much do bus services? Like,
public transport.
The infrastructure we build affects the efficiency.
so we don't do anything to the buses, we just
No,
do the roads that
we
the
just do
buses
the
require.
Yes,
And
the
the bus
infrastructure.
lanes.
I mean, a classic example of something that we might do is Riccarton Road, where you've got the routes coming up down there. And the services get stuck in the traffic because we don't have the bus infrastructure lane built for them to be able to transit easily past the traffic and through the traffic.
Right.
That's priority lanes. Yeah. So to me, that's where I think we need to try and make this land more usefully, that we can respond more quickly rather than being stuck in processes.
Right.
So did you captured it?
Can you please read it out to us?
We need recognition that future infrastructure demands will result in changes in transport patterns and demands. And there needs to be an ability to react.
In a timely
Adapt.
manner.
Mm.
React, adapt in a timely manner.
And a lot of that's defined in their goals that they've outlined.
Yeah.
And efficiency was brought up in goal 4 too,
So we put,
because we made changes
Oh,
to
yeah.
that. That's when
Right.
we asked for changes in that.
so we're putting yes, we agree, but just it as a comment. Yep.
That's why the other one was real broad, because they done down on the.
Is
doubled
that,
down.
oh, the comment,
Significant home.
But it's harmless having efficiency.
what about the financial support? from
Oh, no,
central
oh, sorry,
government?
I've already got that.
Ah.
Recognise greater challenge with growth of neighbouring districts and financial support.
And then plus mark.
Those are really
Plus
good.
mark.
Ah,
Sorry.
I thought that was all of it.
Oh, no, sorry, I thought we'd already agreed on the.
Efficient.
Okay,
Includes economic.
right. Cool, all good with that? Do you agree with the goals prioritized in Otautahi Christchurch future transport? Yes, somewhat, no, don't know. So I did have to ask, staff, because I was, confused whether the goals were ranked according to priority. And they confirmed with me that they are not, they are of equal priority, so there's no ranking, so I'm fine with that. Yeah,
Yeah, they look good.
yeah, so
They got a million questions in the chamber, so that should be good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a lot.
Anything particular?
The efficiency part was one of them. That's already been filled in with goal 4.
Right. So originally, what did it not include?
It had it, but I think some councillors wanted it explicitly in there from memory.
Yeah,
This is a while back.
right.
Um,
I think that is important.
yes, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because efficiency actually embodies all of transport movement, heavy vehicle movement, light vehicle movement. Getting efficiently from a bus stop to a train station, for example, once it comes.
Yep. Agreed.
You don't want to be walking 400 meters to a train, the bus is going to ages away, so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I want to board it.
and the last question is there anything else we need to know before deciding?
Oh,
whether-
sorry, was it just we agreed with the goals? Was just yes,
Yes.
no comments?
No comment,
No comments.
yeah,
Perfect, thank you.
yeah, and so is there anything else? No, any other comments? We've all got it covered?
Good, no.
Oh, that's transport,
I don't know if it'll be beneficial or not, and I don't know how much I can dump into this. But in a Riccarton context, the big stuff is public transport, the future for public transport, particularly with light rail. I'm not sure if that,
that
The-
includes Hornby,
yeah.
it'll be the transport corridor,
Hanoi,
yes,
Belfast, and Waimak.
that's the transport corridor.
I'm not sure if, please, if you don't feel obligated to, but if you'd like to or not like to, maybe express some support for something in terms of infrastructure and how you value public transport infrastructure like MRT within this route. Because it feels asking for wheeled rail, okay,
Trackless train.
trackless trams.
What?
The trackless tram.
So there were two,
Oh, the checklist,
Checklist
I saw
trams.
that in the,
and then there was light rail. One has more cost than the other.
so which one has more cost than the other?
Trackless trams has
Trackless.
less cost.
Less cost,
It was at the time was 1.5 billion.
And I think it's BCL business
so it's
case, right? Like,
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
stacked up better.
checklist tram, so that's just basically something like a bus.
It's like an
as well?
oversized bus.
Like a long bus,
Like a long bus,
carriages and whatnot.
and will they have
Have a decent
route,
corridor.
this, specific,
Yes.
allocated route?
Yes, they have a specific corridor which is set aside for them, same as you'd have with the light rail, but you just don't have the rails on the ground, it's just a track.
Ah,
And PC 14 is really relying heavily on the
Light rail.
corridor in terms of, I've got one amendment.
The
I'm allowed to talk about it because it's up.
yeah.
But it's around creating enough space for future plans for MRT.
designated corridor.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it might be worth us in that comment section having a bit of a vision spiel about, we support the concept of MRT sooner rather than later, potentially. And in the interim, the enhancement of the existing public transport solutions to be reliable and efficient, to allow for the choice. Possible, help reduce emission.
How will it fit in the existing?
In the existing, say, for instance, I'll use Riccarton Road a lot as an example. Basically, do away with the parking. There is now a bus lane. And the buses can zip up along the bus lane at any time when there's traffic blocking
So a dedicated bus line.
there's just a dedicated bus lane, that's all it is.
Right.
So it's nothing major, not huge infrastructure need to be built, it's just, let's clear the way.
And is it
Paint
on
the-
each side?
So
Yeah.
do we need to say something?
Yeah, it probably will be.
Yeah.
It's on my head. Weirdly, there's actually enough room on Riccarton Road.
Yeah.
They scoped it. There's the pinch
Without
points, the
taking
pinch points at Church Corner,
Mm.
where there was going to be potentially a station there on Church Corner.
Oh,
MRT station there.
The roads are quite small in some areas where there would be difficulty getting MRT through. That's why we wanted the setbacks to be able to allow, if PC 14 does come, that they can't come right up to the footpath.
So do we want to say something like, this strategy needs to be flexible enough to,
Accommodate.
to provide and accommodate,
MRT.
future,
Yeah. And
what's MRT?
mass rapid transit,
Mass rapid.
so that's your travellers trams.
Yeah, right,
or your light
okay,
rail.
yeah.
And
connected to.
to me, and I'm off the top of my head, that needs to be sooner rather than later.
Carriage.
At the moment, we're talking about 15 to 20 years.
Pros and cons, like,
Bring the government back to the table.
and there's
We've
argument
got
that
a-
light rail will be more efficient.
This is 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's on rail and it's
Yeah.
tight
they're
in
strategy.
comparison.
We need the MRT, well and truly landed on, thriving by the end of 30 years.
Bus lane, for example, which they do all the time, it'll hold up dozens of people. So there's different pros and cons to both. But I just wanted to ask in broadness that we support something if you guys are open for it. It's a big thing for Riccarton, particularly
So,
going through Hornby through Riccarton.
so that's the MRT?
Yeah.
So, if Faye can just repeat to us what she's
Well,
written.
this is what I've
Yeah,
got, but so
yeah.
tell me if I'm capturing it or not. The strategy needs to be flexible enough to accommodate the introduction of mass rapid transport within a short-term timeframe.
Yeah, or medium to short term, I guess.
Short to medium.
Short, medium, yeah.
Yep.
And
But that the board supports this.
yeah,
Yeah,
But so are we just putting that in the under, is there anything
Anything
else
else?
we need to know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it just gives you a sort of a.
Yeah, the board supports the strategy, but
Mm.
considers it needs, Anything else?
No, I've got 11 leviers.
We love you, brother.
See you later.
See ya.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Are you going to the brain trust?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
we'll see you at the night.
It's got a drop off. Cool. See you later.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Anybody else on the timeframe? So
No,
just bring up, I think the next one I've got is dog control, perhaps just bring that one up.
no. I've got nothing on that. I have, yes. All right, anyway, so dog control, draft dog control bylaw and policy 2024. So
We did have a briefing and that's.
we recently had a briefing on this. And so now we are being asked to answer a few questions. And so the first one is, do you support the proposal to require dogs to be on a short leash on footpaths, shared paths, and formed tracks in green space areas where dogs are allowed? Yes, no, don't know, not sure. Yes,
Support.
okay, yes, yes, so yes. Next, do you support the proposal to require dogs to be on a short leash on shared paths and pedestrian areas on or near roads? As opposed to earlier in the green space areas, now on the roads, the pedestrian areas?
Yes.
Yes, yes, it's all yes. And, so the note was dogs are currently required to be leashed on roads and footpaths alongside roads. Yeah, okay. Next. Oh. Do you support the proposal for the Otakaro Avon River corridor?
Yeah, that's proving dogs in key areas to protect the wildlife.
I just didn't want to
Yeah.
expand because I.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
No, we.
The next few are similar to
That
this.
they're all similar,
Yeah.
aren't they?
And, yep, the next one was, yep, in the Uhutai Avon Heathcote Estuary to protect wildlife.
Yes.
Yes, as well, and yes, and next one is stormwater basins.
Yeah.
Like Tikuru, this was an issue with Andre, of
Yes.
course, so it's a yes for
Yes.
us. And then the next is limit the number of dogs one person can be in control of in a public place.
Yes.
So, yes, do you support the proposal to just, yeah,
Which is 2 off leash and 4 on leash per person.
what is it currently?
They're proposing, I don't think there is a.
Don't think there is a
current
pro-
limit,
There's no
No.
control currently, so now we're proposing to
Two
when
off leash.
off leash
and
for
4 leash.
leash.
Yeah.
And that's a yes for me?
And there's also a provision, somebody can get an exemption, you know, if you're.
Oh, yeah, exemption.
Dog trainer.
Yeah, dog trainer, that's right, yeah.
Keen.
Yeah,
exemption to be
that makes
available,
sense.
but, Yeah, proven.
Yeah, yeah. Where do they get the exemption from? Council?
There's gonna be a process in the
Yeah.
bylaws,
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
All right, yes?
Yep.
And then other proposed changes, we've got in the central city, Groins, Littleton Recreation Ground, sports fields, wharves, jetties, and community gardens, Sticks Mill Conservation Reserve, mud flats and other key wildlife habitats around Tank Springs, protect areas for cultural reasons, change the definition of under effective control, minor changes, administrative changes.
So there are no specific questions on those.
No
but-
specific
We
questions.
could comment.
But
Have
they're
any
just
comment?
asking, do we have any feedback on?
Do you have
of these?
any feedback on any other parts of the dog control bylaw? So probably,
We could say generally support those.
yeah, generally support.
I wanted to, where is it? So under effective control, I think that that's quite loose, and I think that there is definitely a bit of a culture of, I mean, maybe it's because this didn't exist. Will this change the culture now? And then will dog owners perhaps be more mindful of what effective control looks like?
There was a definition of effective control somewhere.
Yeah.
It was in the,
I guess it's not so much
It's
what
in
it
the
is, it's just
current
about how it's
bylaw.
it's in the current bylaw.
actually, you know,
usually
takes
early
place
on in the
and
interpretation.
whether it would be enforceable.
Yeah, 3.1.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really responsible
See,
dog
section
owners, but there's a lot of
3.1
really
policy.
irresponsible dog owners.
Oh, so this is under
And,
policy.
Under effective control,
5 of the bylaw.
I think it means if the dog is called, the dog has to come back straight away.
Yeah.
And I see that all the time that they don't.
No.
And so what are the implications of that, particularly when there's young children around? And, you know,
The issue there is enforcement, because nobody's gonna
Correct.
enforce that.
but I also wonder if the culture changes because something like this hasn't been in place prior with the, you know, putting it into place, it might change people's.
I wonder if the wording's right there.
This has been,
It has been in place. I think
In place.
everybody's been required to have effective control. There just hasn't been a limit on the numbers that you can have.
You know,
I think that's right.
I wonder
So,
if wording is slightly ambiguous there, perhaps something like under effective active control.
So
Maybe.
I-
So that they've got the-
there was
they
a
need to be engaged.
definition.
with the-
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
so this bylaw has been in existence for a long while, I can't remember when, but it was last reviewed in 2016. So these are the changes, it just doesn't help that they didn't provide us with the actual bylaw.
Yeah.
Because unlike the
Section
parks and
3.
reserves, I found it very useful, they did like,
Mm.
they indicated where the changes are in the
Mm.
actual, in the
True.
current bylaw.
I guess my issue is,
'Cause there is a
There are-
definition of effective control.
So what they've changed is, so dog owners are required to keep their dogs under effective control at all times when in public places. If an area is not a leashed area or prohibited area in this policy, dogs may be exercised off leash provided they are under effective control. And then it's changed to under effective control means the owner or person in charge of a dog in a public place must actively pay attention to the dog is and what it is doing. Next. So it used to be aware of where the dog is.
so on that point, how
So
can
now
you
it's
be
changed.
actively controlling two dogs? One's over there doing that, the other one's over there doing that.
Yeah, and so there's more. Ensure the dog is responsive to commands with prompt recall. Be close enough to the dog to quickly prevent any issues. And ensure the dog is not creating a nuisance to any other person or to any stock, poultry, domestic animal, or protected wildlife. If a dog is unable to consistently and quickly respond to commands, it should be leashed in public places where a leash is required or not.
So that's the new,
That's the amendment.
Yeah, and then there's an explanation. In order for a dog to be able to be off leash in public places, the owner or person in charge of it must be confident that the dog will respond to commands. If a dog is inconsistent at responding, it should be leashed. The owner or person in charge of the dog must actively pay attention to the dog. This means know where it is and what it is doing, being able to see and hear the dog, being close enough to respond to any issues, and ensuring it is not creating a nuisance. Nuisance in this sense means things such as rushing at, barking at, intimidating, or otherwise bothering people or animals, including other dogs. Having a dog under effective control is as much about the safety of the dog as it is about others.
Yeah.
And then it says reasons for the change. We asked people what they thought about the definition of under effective control in a recent survey. And suggest the following changes based on the feedback. The proposal to change the definition of under effective control to make it easier to understand received 53% support in the dog control survey.
only 53.
So do I take it that if you're a new dog owner, you are provided with a bylaw? So you're aware of
You would think,
your responsibilities? Or
you would think if you're registering a dog
Yes.
for the first time, he's a copy.
you will be provided with a copy?
Even, well, it'd be an idea to have even a pocket card.
Yeah,
Carry it with you.
Yeah.
This is my responsibilities under the bylaw. Just a few.
yeah.
Oh, maybe we can add that
Yeah,
as
that, I
anything
think
else.
it's a really good idea, because I think this is important information that people
And
disregard.
What do you call it?
generally support, consider the
Providing.
education of dog owners, particularly new dog owners,
Yeah,
to the requirements of the bylaw.
well,
Even
education
existing.
of dog owners, but an opportunity for new dog owners to be given a card.
Or for any dog owners to have access to a pocket card,
A pocket card
outlining their basic
Yeah.
responsibilities.
with the
Or
responsibility.
re-registration, I guess you do that online, though, don't you? You don't have to.
But then even with the existing owners, if they're not aware of the changes to the definition of effective dog control.
I think that's really important. It's what is effective dog control?
Yeah,
And the
so
more-
all of the blue. Yeah. All of the highlighted blue is all new text to that definition. So they've added in all of that.
Which is great. And it's not so much about what's in here, but it's about getting that to the people that own them.
Yeah, but I think what this does is before it wasn't in there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in terms of following up, expecting the dog owners to behave that way, it wasn't in the bylaw.
Yeah.
And kind of
It wouldn't be a
expanded
silly
like that.
idea for us to communicate at the next registration after this bylaw is adopted. These are the key changes that have come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that to every new, re-registration or new registration for the coming 12 months.
Yeah.
And then have it for all new registrations after that.
Yeah, and a real push to communities,
Mm.
informing communities about what it means.
So I'm not a dog owner currently, so do you register, are the dogs registered
Annually.
every year?
Every year.
Every year.
And there's an anniversary date. I think that is pretty much everyone's on the same anniversary. It
Mm.
might be 30th of June or something,
Mm.
1st of July. So, something along those lines.
Mm.
So in the registration pack, they can provide all this.
And if it's an online process, as you said, they'll all get a new tag each year.
It's
And
the collar for the
Yeah.
little plastic.
then they send out just a wee pocket card flyer.
Could even be something like with a little latch that goes onto their lead with their poo bags.
So if we say something along the lines, so I was just thinking about putting this under, do we have any other feedback? Generally, the board generally supports the need for education of dog owners, particularly new dog owners, regarding the requirements of the dog bylaw, especially around what constitutes effective control. The board suggests some form of literature be provided to dog owners as part of the registration process.
Maybe like a card, I think a card or
Literature and or collateral such as,
yeah.
I think pocket card would be the,
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
give them an
Description.
A4 sheet and it just gets
yeah,
thrown away.
goes in junk
Or
mail.
set
Yeah.
aside and forgotten.
Yeah, whereas a little
Yeah.
card that's just got a couple of points.
I
Can it attach to
imagine that
the,
cost will have a lot to
To
do
the dog
with what
The
they
colour?
choose.
Or as the
Of course.
the human.
So I'll put EG card,
Yeah.
EG pocket card
EG
down
pocket
there. I
card.
mean,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not for
it's
us to
just-
decide, it's the for us
Yeah.
to suggest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
just as a.
Because I'm not sure what they get now.
No,
You know,
that's
even when
right.
you register your
Because
dog.
that will also cost.
Yeah.
Some,
If it costs, we can potentially build it into the cost
Put the
registration.
registration, please.
Up by $1.
But they do
Well,
those,
yeah.
like Christchurch does the dogs and togs events, like out at Templeton, like at those
Mm.
events,
pool
it'd
play.
be cool to.
You're right, they probably get some literature around, it's time to renew your dog
Mm.
registration,
Yeah.
so.
But just giving it in a way that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a policy.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy with that?
Yep.
Yep. Does it got, nothing changes about enforcement, does it? Are there any?
I don't think they did, because I'm not sure. Is enforcement under the bylaw or is it under the act? I think it's under the act. Usually it's the
so
act itself that establishes the fines, what the level in that is, but you have to breach something in the bylaw.
Right,
So,
and we don't have any say into the act.
No, and I can't. It's a question and.
Like, yeah, so say if there is a dog that terrorizes some children and some animals while it's not under effective control, does the council offer, so need to observe that in person? Is it just a matter of getting it on film? Like, I wonder how.
It's probably, you need to see it in person. Most of these enforcement lions type issues, it needs to be sort of a live catching with the act.
And how often does that happen?
Well, I would imagine it'd be quite rare. Because, I mean, you think about parking enforcement,
Yeah,
and we were told that a photograph of a vehicle in a cycle lane, for instance, is not evidence. It's actually got to be cited by the compliance officer.
which is fine if it's parked there because you get them to call out and then they're there, but
But
doesn't
live
happen with the dog.
live with an animal is
Yeah,
get it all together.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I don't know the
No,
answer to
we haven't got
Yeah.
a question to get clarified.
I'm just concerned because there's like a lot of like in Wigram, there's a lot of big the basins and there's a lot of dogs that are not under effective control in and around the area.
Yep.
and I've known about some children that have had some
Terrifying
experiences. Yeah. And the owners don't seem to tell. They're like, oh, the dog's friendly, and I'm like,
Yeah, but the person being charged doesn't know that.
correct. Not everyone is, yeah, particularly when your children, the dog's the size of you. Yeah, anyway, that's just aside.
I'm just looking at menacing dogs, dangerous and menacing dogs.
Don't worry about it for now, Faye. It's obviously,
Yeah.
mm,
I feel that, what's his name? Bill might have covered that. or
Yeah.
Some of it.
I can't remember what he
It'll
said.
probably still be on his presentation might still be on the half. I'll find out.
Was it
when that was.
Well, I think it was before the recording. It was a briefing.
Should have been Friday anyway.
Okay.
We can find out though.
Yep.
Right, are we all good with that?
Yep.
We'll move on to the next.
Mhm.
So we've got the draft Parks and Reserves bylaw 2025. So it's really good. I found it really good that they had like sort of did highlighted in the existing bylaw where the changes are, rather than summarizing what the changes are.
Quick squiz at that one.
Um, You've got, you both got copies of that?
I didn't have this one.
Yeah, so I do have a comment on the first one. The introduction says update legislation, amend definitions of aircraft. I'm fine with that. Authorized officer is good. Vehicle, yes. I have a suggested amendment or addition to the park or reserve definition. If you've got that in front of you.
Number 3,
Page.
park and reserve.
Yeah,
Page 3.
There's no page number. Number 3, interpretation on the right side, park or reserve.
Yeah.
Yes. So A and B are fine. So A means any land which is vested in, any park or domain in B, forest or green space. And C does not include any such land park. I would like to suggest to add in letter C, for the purposes of this bylaw, it does not include any such land. So just in that beginning there, letter C,
What
for the
difference?
purposes of this bylaw is what I'm suggesting to add.
What difference does that make? Doesn't it pertain to that anyway?
It has to be specific.
So you're saying, so it might say in the Reserves Act or something, it might
Yes.
cover those, but you want to spell out that regardless of
Yes.
whether it does for the purposes of this
Just
bylaw.
bylaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we do when we write rules.
Okay.
It's like,
I
yeah.
trust your judgment on
it's
that.
just specific to this. Because it says here means any land which is vested under the Reserves Act and all that. And then now it does not include such lands or park that have been granted.
Sure.
So it's just for this purpose. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then the second one I've got on the definition of emergency services. I was just wondering, they haven't included civil defense because there is a provision here in number 18 exemptions. This bylaw does not apply to any person who commits an act that is done by a member of the emergency services in the course of carrying out his or her duties as a member of the emergency services. And civil defense is also part of this if they perform their. So the definition means the New Zealand Police, Fire and Emergency New Zealand, civil defense.
Okay.
And providers of health.
You do civil defence and emergency management, CDM.
CDM, civil defense and emergency management, CDM, rather than civil defense, yeah, CDM, civil defense and emergency management.
I'll take that anyway.
All right, so next, after that, we've got part 1, access to parks and reserves, no changes. Part 2, section 7, no comments. Section 8. No comments, include vessels, section 9. All good with section 9 proposed changes. Section 10. Section 11. Section 12. 9. 12. Yep. And part 3, special areas. Include electric bicycles, electric scooters and scooters on those prohibited things to ride in the Christchurch Botanic Gardens without permission. I was wondering, isn't it too
restrictive?
tough on, scooters? Or what kind of scooters? Is it just children's scooters?
So-
Not the electric scooters, because
Scooters go pretty fast.
Yeah.
I can understand why. I think it's more children's.
it's the children, will you
To
not
be
allow
honest, I
children?
don't think that parents really adhere, they just take the scooters and the little bikes in anyway
Yeah,
to the gardens. I see them all the time.
So currently
mean-
bicycles are prohibited
ele-
and they now
Yes.
want to add
electric bicycles,
electrical
that's fine.
Electric and
Electric
ordinary scooters.
scooters,
Yeah.
I'm fine with, because they do zip through. It's the small, the scooters that you push.
I mean, there are some designated paths, I would have thought, in Botanic Gardens that pretty much transit through the main route. That these sort of things might be okay on.
But this one
Restricted
is,
speed.
I don't know. I'm for that,
so.
but I don't
special.
think, I think that they would turn a blind eye to children on the little scooters and little bikes.
And this is in the Botanic Gardens.
Yeah.
Christchurch Botanic Gardens.
There are some main paths in and around and through Botanic Gardens that kind of lend themselves to
Correct,
transit.
but I think
through.
it's the speed that's the issue.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if this should be rather than
the thing
straight
is this-
prohibition, it should be a restricted speed in consideration. as
Yeah,
you
because
take it.
this is saying it's prohibited,
Yeah,
so that's
Harder to enforce.
kind of,
How to
kind of
enforce.
tough
I'm,
on children.
yeah,
I'm personally
parents.
for this.
Yeah.
I think that
yeah.
out of everywhere, it's a safe space that
Mm.
families
So
can go. with.
prohibit.
Yeah.
Even the ordinary scooters, where you just push, kick.
Well, I think it, like, I don't know about you guys, but I've observed parents with children
Yeah,
that don't adhere to this.
No,
Like the signage, I think people interpret it applies to adults
Yeah.
going fast. The little ones on the
Yeah.
little scooters, I don't think. I've never heard of anyone being reprimanded for using those.
yeah, so do we make exemptions for children?
Maybe.
but then we define a child. At what age is it?
It's the parents that will be fined,
Primary age, yeah.
It's just the enforceability. of
School
it
age.
That's,
yeah.
you know.
A straight prohibition is certainly easier to
easier to enforce.
enforce.
Except what?
I don't think a 3-year-old's going to be charged
No,
for having their.
Oh, no, so not school age, so under 5.
I can't see the scooter police.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's what happens now. Like,
Yeah. There's probably a sensibility that happens.
Or just add discretion for children under 5 years old.
yeah,
On
or
scooters.
maybe 10 years old.
They can be rat bags as well,
Yeah,
this is,
exactly.
you know,
That's what I'm saying.
so it's under 5. Probably 5 and under?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is tricky, because, when I was reading it, it was like, oh, this kind of,
I mean, whether you push it back to the staff that are writing the bylaw to say, and just say age restriction, and then they can work to figure out what the pertinent age is.
provide,
Where we think
or
that-
discretion with age restriction, or
Yeah. The suitable age restriction.
how would you word it?
Well, I just put, just as a comment, the board would like to see some sort of exemption or discretion for scooters ridden by children under 5 years.
For,
But
just
yeah.
for the ordinary scooters,
Yeah,
not the electric
scooters, yeah,
scooters. No, not the electric ones.
A 3-year-old on the scooter, wow, get that shoulder real
Yeah,
quick.
definitely not.
Yeah.
no person may climb any tree within the Christchurch Botanic Gardens. Is that for safety? Is that going for trees?
But both
Mm.
trees,
It damages the trees.
the trees in the Botanic Gardens tend to be quite special,
Yeah, right.
quite unique.
So it's more that than being a health and
Again.
safety.
Do we have tree climbing police?
Yeah, I think for Botanic Gardens, it's around the protection of those particular trees.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the parents will protect the children. You might gonna.
Yeah, there's a note, like the explanatory note, and that references when the gardens were established.
Oh, so
Might break branches.
Many of the plants are rare and require higher
Fair
degree of
enough.
protection than other
Mm,
reserve
yep.
areas.
I actually don't know is that written, is there signage to it?
I've never
I
seen it.
feel like I haven't
For
seen it.
the,
At the Botanic Gardens, there's signs that say do not climb our trees.
Is
I'm
it-
not sure.
I think it's on a couple of them. There's one big one.
It's probably at the gate to go in. or
Yeah.
No, I don't
something.
think it is. Yeah, but I mean, maybe it's not,
Fine print they got at the
Not an
gate.
issue.
maybe it's not an
Yeah.
issue, yeah.
Can we just say that the board appreciates them, how they provided the document with the, and showing the
Amendments.
amendments?
Yeah.
In the, yeah,
Yeah.
because the others
It was
did not.
helpful, yeah.
It was
The dog
difficult.
one was.
The dog
it?
one
And-
was?
No.
No.
Oh, online it is.
Oh, okay. No, not in this.
So it's different online to
consultation
what's been
document.
printed off.
So just the printed document
It's probably
at
both
least,
versions online.
because it would have been very helpful.
Yes.
To see. Okay. Yeah, the Parks and Reserve one was very, I mean,
I just say, board appreciates consultation, the format of consultation documents that made it easy to identify changes.
yes.
That's great.
Hang on, so do you have comments about the proposed changes to the Parks and Reserves bylaw? We've
I think
already
we've
got
done them
that.
as we've gone
Yeah.
through.
Okay, we're all done with Parks and Reserves?
Yep.
Last one. Draft Trade Waste Bylaw 2025. I've got a yes, don't know. Not sure. Yes. Okay, we'll go through the questions. First one is, do you support the proposal to reduce the total suspended solids limit to 100 grams per cubic meters for discharges containing only inorganic mineral solids? That is, the current total suspended solids limit of 600 grams per cubic meters for other discharges will remain. So this is only for the inorganic mineral solids, and I'm a yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next question. Do you support prohibiting POPs, including PFAs, PFOs, and PFOAs from any trade waste discharge? Yes.
Yes.
So my next one was for dewatering activities, do you support the proposed changes to clarify the need for a trade waste consent in some circumstances? I put in here, I don't know, I
Yeah, I
wasn't,
don't know
I
either.
didn't understand the question. Can somebody please explain the dewatering activities?
Dewatering is where they're, like digging a ditch or a hole for foundation for something and it fills up with water. And they pump that dirty sediment laden water out.
Right.
So that's what dewatering activities
Ah.
is. So they are obviously changing to clarifying, where that consent is actually needed.
So they need a consent to pump it out of that hole?
Yes, normally, yeah.
Right now, they don't
Well,
require.
I can't quite remember, but I suggest there might be a limit, like, the first, 100 cubic meters, you don't need a consent pumping more than that you do, or something like, I suggest it might be something, that sort of situation. But they're proposing changes anyway, clarifying the need for when you do and when you don't need a consent.
So some discharges when it can't be accepted as stormwater wastewater network, so then it's in the wastewater network as trade waste. The bylaw is not clear on the requirement for trade waste consent in these instances. So clarification that a trade waste consent is required under for the watering activities where applicable to reflect the changes in my line with the zones provide. So they will be required consent only where applicable. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, yes. And next, do you support the proposed changes to improve regulation of tankered waste discharges? Say yes, yes, yes,
I guess so.
yes,
It's
yes.
out of my
And-
expertise, shall we say?
Yeah.
I think when you had the briefing on this, it was 2 hours away, but
Hmm.
at that time in the briefing, there was nothing.
That all makes sense.
Yeah, you were all, I thought.
Yeah, we didn't have
Anyway,
any problems.
Yeah.
That time, yeah. And so so the application processing and consent expiries. Do you support the proposed changes? This is for the permitted consent term and expiry. And do you support introducing a maximum duration of up to 10 years for all permitted consents? And we did say yes at the briefing.
That means, yeah,
Yes, yes.
it's got to come back.
And how come the tankard waste? Oh, so it got inserted there twice. Inserted it twice.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
So the next one then is
Yeah.
the tankard waste, and yeah, we did say yes to that. Changes to improve regulation. And
Sorry, so the application processing and consent, we propose the following changes to support application processing. And that's set out that we may consider wide vendors in deciding on consent applications, remove the application processing time from the bylaw and communicate process. So we're happy with those? Yes, for those?
yes,
Okay, thank you.
and include a new clause setting out the reasons we may
Ye-
decline application. Yes,
Yes.
that is important.
Yeah.
And other proposed changes? Do you want to read out the last page?
In addition to the key changes summarised above, we also propose some minor amendments, including change some wording to improve clarity without affecting the intent of the bylaw, update outdated terms and references to legislation or other documents, update definitions to improve clarity and consistency. New definitions have been added to aid understanding or support enforcement, while terms that are no longer relevant to the bylaw have been removed, and transfer the bylaw into new standard bylaws format. So those are just.
Yeah, so now
incidental changes.
my issue with that was it says there like, update definitions, update outdated terms, and then I went to the document and it doesn't tell me where the changes are.
Okay.
So that's why I said consultation document not helpful without marking the proposed changes, because, yeah, update the definition. So what's the new definition? Unless we go online, I suppose.
Might be online, yeah.
I didn't have to go on, time to go online. I just relied on the hard copy. And it doesn't help without indicating where the changes and what the changes are.
This is true.
Even if they say it's just minor changes, but like with the earlier one where the definition emergency services, we propose to include civil defense and emergency management services. We don't know what other definitions
Mhm.
here that we might want to improve on or suggest to add on. I don't know.
So online there is a statement of proposal, draft trade waste, a 44-page document summary of changes and a copy of the draft bylaw. In this copy of the draft bylaw. I wonder if that one.
I suppose we should have read the online.
Oh, that summary is the one you've got here.
Yeah, we only have the summary, so we should have at least, yeah.
But just a comment that the other format was.
Yes, because this one, the Parks and Reserve bylaw was great,
I think the difference is the number that of changes, but,
but it was still very helpful. Well, I mean, why can't they do
okay,
all the same?
comment, I'll just say the board comments,
Yeah.
that it would have been more helpful.
Is it the same area that compiles all of these?
The
Or do they
engagement
do
team,
their
yes.
individual
team.
engagement? So maybe
engagement
we
team.
just notify engagement,
Yep, those in the
That's
parks
right, yeah.
reviews was greatly appreciated, could the.
Yeah.
publics.
future consultation. done.
Yeah, if they're
To show
making changes to bylaws,
changes
this is a good example of.
from current
Yeah.
bylaw to proposed bylaw.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because it's almost like a track changes.
This is like, yeah.
Yeah,
so
otherwise
this
you've
is
got no
like
idea.
What they just highlighted here in the text.
Otherwise it becomes, almost it feels like a spin.
Rather than, yeah, you read this and then you have to go online and search for
Yeah.
where the changes are. So
Yeah.
this one was really, really helpful,
Yes.
the parks.
Yeah,
and
that's
Reserve.
The board comments said it would have been more helpful to show changes from the current to the proposed bylaw in the consultation documents.
As-
in the
as was
summary
done in
of-
Parks and Reserves.
Yeah,
In the consultation summary, similar to that of the Parks and Reserves.
Yeah.
Bylaw,
That way they've got the reference to be able to go, oh yeah,
yeah.
not talking about.
sure, easy.
Okay, we're all done?
Done.
Everything, you've got everything you needed from us?
Yeah, well, I'll just close the live stream.
Thank you.